Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our episode 10. Can you believe that we are now with episode 10 with the Real Talk Coaching Podcast? And we're excited about another wonderful conversation that we're going to have here today. And I just want to make sure that everyone is sitting, get a pen and paper down because you might want to take some notes as we go through this great conversation. So today is about the power of focus. And we're going to be sharing our word for the year. If you listen to episode 9, we kind of alluded to the word for the year that we each have. So we're going to go into some more in-depth talking about the word for the year and give you a backstage pass to what's shifting and going on and being reimagined for 2026 with our businesses this year. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Terri as we get started.
Yes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to reveal, each of us is going to reveal our word for 2026 and what that means when it comes to reimagining what that word will bring to our lives. And so I will get started by saying that my word for the year is belief or believing. I have a tendency uh to pray on things and then be filled with doubt. And so I said that this year, if I ask God for something, I am going to believe that He's going to give it to me. If I say that I'm going to do something, I am going to believe that I'm actually committed to doing something, that thing that I want to do. And so for me, if I were to ask myself, what does it look like to reimagine belief? It means that I'm not just saying it, that it's actually happening, that the seeds of faith that I plant into the fertile soil of my prayer life will grow because of my belief. My belief will water the seeds that are planted for my prayer life. So it's not just about me saying it, it's actually about me doing it, having that action and actively believing what God is going to do for me based on what I ask Him. But it's also about me believing in myself that there are things that I can do and not doubting myself when I go to try to do those things. And so that is my word for this year. It is belief or believing, either one, they're interchangeable, um, a noun and a verb actually, because the verb part is what matters, right? And so belief is the noun, believing is the verb, and I will do the believing this year. Miss Sharon?
Yeah, so that kind of just goes in alignment and moves right into what my word is because a lot of times people say these words together. And so my word for 2026 is faith. And I picked that word because I've really been doing things where I need to step out on faith. And sometimes, like Coach Terri, I'll have those doubts, even though I give it to God and say, okay, I want to do this, but I have some doubts, some insecurities about it. This year I said, I'm gonna have faith to do it. And however it turns up, then it turns up. Because even if it turns up the way I expect it to, I'm going to get something out of it, a lesson learned, and how I can move forward. But if it turns out, different than what I expect, then I still have a lesson learned and a way to move forward from that because God has given me the things that I need, and I'm having faith in those things. So there are scriptures such as James 2:26, and I'm reading them right here or in front of me, where it says, just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without work. So that means that I need to do the work. I can't just believe that God, have faith in God that things will get done, or faith in other people that things will get done. I have to make sure that I'm doing the work to get these things done. And we always hear having this faith the size of a mustard seed, we can move mountains. And so that's what my goal is to move mountains. And they're not going to be just literal mountains, they're figurative mountains, but whatever those mountains are that come my way, I'm going to be able to move those mountains. So faith is what I am using to grow myself, and in that same belief, grow and help grow others, and helping them to have faith in what's going on with them, and creating their next chapter in their life. So I've reimagined what that is with building my business, building a legacy for my family to take on into generations moving forward, and how all that is. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Terri to share her word.
Thank you, Coach Sharon. You said my word actually, in your description of your word for 2026, faith. So my word is alignment. And for me, alignment, it's really the way I'm going to reimagine alignment is really looking at aligning all of my actions, thoughts, and words with my values. And that means that I do have to believe in myself. It does mean also that I have to have faith in a higher power, that God will provide and that things will happen. And for me, being aligned, hopefully, right, will bring me a level of peace. We've talked in previous podcasts and on our journey to here. Um, I can be a people pleaser. But that is not always aligned with my values. It's not always necessarily even aligned with my energy and the things that I want to do. So for 2026, I really want to focus on making sure that the decisions that I make, the actions that I take, and even the words that I use are truly aligned with my values and how I'm feeling, and not hiding behind fear or shame or people pleasing or just any of those other things that really don't move me forward, that don't serve me in reaching my goals and getting to where I want to be. Being aligned also is going to help me as I journey, excuse me, into helping others, not only as a coach, but not only as a professional coach, but also as a coach helping to empower children, young folks around the subject of math. Excuse me. In math and in life, precision, being precise, right, is about being aligned. It's hard to be precise and do things with a level of accuracy if you don't have alignment that is associated with that. So I'm going to reimagine, excuse me, kind of cutting off the noise. And as Coach Sharon said in the beginning, really focusing on what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and how I am being in everything that I do. So for me, it's all about alignment.
That's great. And it's interesting how the three of us, even though we have three different words, but they all flow together. How having belief leads, having faith, and being aligned with your values also means that you are having that faith and belief that the things will be in order. And we know that everyone that's listening to us from this episode may not be Christian, but whatever spiritual walk that you might have, you have that belief, you have that faith, and making sure that it's aligned with the values from your faith, from your beliefs, then it all comes together. And we didn't know before today, or at least before last episode, what our word was for 2026. But it just kind of all flowed together. I guess we just kind of coming together. I want to say we kind of aligning, but we just kind of all coming together for us. And so what I want to do before we get into our highlights for our business, I really want us to take a moment and think about this question, even for us as coaches and those of you that are listening. We would like for you to drop your comments into the chat so we can learn more about what your word is for 2026. But think about this. If your word for 2026 was a person, how would it walk? How would it talk? But most of all, how would it treat you? Right? Not how would you treat it, but how would it treat you? So as I was sitting here thinking about that question, I thought, how would faith walk? I feel faith would walk boldly.
Mhm.
It would walk boldly in the spaces in which it was in, because it's faith. It means that I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna go with the faith that I have that it will be as I would envision it to be, or I'm going to get something out of it, even if it's not. It would talk with boldness. It would show up with boldness, and it would treat me with boldness, but also gentleness, because even having that faith is that, hey, I'm going to be here with you along this journey. We're going to do this together. So, we can go through it gently. We can go through it in the type of boldness in which I envision. It would treat me with gentleness, but also with boldness. So that's how I would answer that question for my word, faith. Coach Terri, how would you answer that question for alignment?
Uh, well, I think she definitely walks with style and grace. Um, I think she shows up prepared. Um, she would talk with clarity, and in simple terms. She wouldn't need a whole lot of words or a whole lot of complicated 5 syllable, definition, words and a whole lot of extra conversation. She would talk very simple but very clear. And she would treat me with grace because she would understand that this is going to be a journey for me. Some people may not understand what they may think is change in me or in my reactions or in my responses, um, because they may be used to me moving out of alignment with my values. And so that change is going to require her to give me grace because there's going to be some fear there. Some things will change. And there will be some difference that people may see in me. Some people may like it, some people may not. Or it just may look different in how I show up in certain situations. So she would be cute. So she would walk with style. She'd have a little hip hop bop to her. Um, she would talk very clear, very simple, because she would definitely want people to understand what she's saying, and not use a lot of fluff and extra words to kind of smooth it over, but just to be clear. And she would treat me with grace because she knows that there will be some parts of me that will be fearful to show myself being more aligned with my values.
And Coach Terri, how would your word of belief walk, talk, and treat you?
Okay, so I would say that it looks like power and courage, right? So I'll tell you ladies a little secret. I am a king shot game fanatic. And king shot is just it's about, being it's so funny because you're aligned with a bunch of people, so you're in this alliance and you have your city and you're defending your city, right? And so you have these heroes in your city, and your heroes are filled with power and courage. And I think that when I open myself up to believing my higher power, who is God, it gives me the courage to put my faith into something that is above and beyond me, right? And I kind of feel like that. Okay, so when you're playing King Shot and the Vikings come, you have to take your people, your infantry and your cavalry, and you have to send it to another alliance member or several alliance members. So you're really defending them, and then they come and they send their people to defend you, and that's how you get the points or whatever. And so to me, when I think of power and courage, I think of allowing myself to let go of that fear, because remember, God does not give us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. Then it gives me the courage to say, okay, I know God is taking care of this, so I'm gonna go over here and do this other thing that I need to do, so that I'm not sitting there in doubt, mired in doubt, mired in fear, and like Tara said, mired in shame because I wasn't believing that something could be done. So, and when I do that, I feel like I disappoint God by saying, okay, God, I'm asking you for something, but I'm not believing you for it, right? And so to me, it would look like power and courage walking together.
All right. How would it treat you?
It would allow me self-care because it's one of the things that I don't do for myself. And it would allow me to say, okay, when you're believing in God, you can rest. I don't rest if I think that there's something that I need to be doing in order to help move God along with whatever it is I'm asking him for. But if I just put my belief in him, power and courage will allow me to rest.
All right. All right. Well, thank you both for sharing, about your words and how they look to you, how they walk with you and talk to you and would treat you. And that's something we want to hear from our listeners as well. Drop your word for 2026. And you might have multiple words for 2026. Just share with us what your word or words are. And if you don't mind, just let us know, how would it walk? How would it talk? And how would it treat you? So now we want to hear from Coach Terri, because we all have some great stuff coming up. And we're going to start with Coach Terri and what she has going on.
Thank you. So I have a podcast called Rising Forward with Your Coach Terri on YouTube. And that podcast was created specifically for Black women who have been pushed out of the workforce in 2025, and how we can rise forward together, how we can move up, but also move forward. Because people always like, yeah, I want to climb the ladder, or I want to help you climb the ladder, but where do we go from there? So that's where rising forward, we're still rising together, but we're also moving forward into the future or into our dreams and our goals and our purpose. It is evolving, and I was not prepared for Rising Forward to evolve beyond providing resources or, you know, um, comfort to the women who have been pushed out of the workforce. But it seems to be moving towards an activism side. And so you will see more of me encouraging the women who've been affected by being pushed out of the workforce, as well as their family, colleagues, and allies, also thinking about what we want our future to look like so something like this does not happen again. And in a way, it combines the two things that I love doing. When I'm doing Rising, when I'm, on that podcast and I am talking to women who are just like me, because I was also one of the ones pushed out of the workforce, I look at it through a coaching lens, and I do ask questions that make women, think about where they are right now, where they want to be, and how they want to get there. But I'm also putting that with the fact that I have very strong values in where we go as a people, where we go as a nation, and the legacy that we're leaving to our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our neighbors' kids. And so they seem to be fusing together. And that is what Rising Forward is going to look like for 2026.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I have my business, Royalty Business Group. And let me just tell about the name. So I've had this business for several years, and royalty comes from First Peter 2:9, which says we're a royal priesthood. and a particular group of people. And so I chose the names for the business based on the fact that I create a legacy, building it for my family, my children, my grandchildren, great grandchildren, nieces and nephews, and all beyond. Um, and so some of the things that I'm doing under Royalty Business Group is my coaching for retirement lifestyle coaching, where I help people who are entering retirement or already retired determine, like, what does that life look like after they retire? What are the things that we want to do? How are they aligning with their purpose and passion? And helping them to lay out that map to meet the goals that they have for themselves and go on beyond what they were doing, or continue in another way what they were doing in the workspace. So I do that for any and everyone. I have some courses that are coming up that'll be on my website soon that people can look at and enroll in. And in addition to that, I also do consulting with federal employees over federal benefits and retirement. And most of my clients are those who are 50 and over, entering in that retirement space, to help them understand the rules and regulations when it comes to federal benefits and retirement, because they can be confusing and complex, and they can be intimidating if you don't really understand what they are. But it's more than just explaining what they are. It's like talking to them, explaining what they are as it pertains to that individual, because we are unique, and each one of us has a unique personality. We also have unique careers, for those of us in the federal government and the private sector. But if you talk to Coach Terri, Coach Tara, or myself, we can tell you our journey into federal government, what it looked like, and then our journey, if still being there, or how we left. So our benefits and retirement is different for each one of us, and helping to unpack that for a person gives them confidence. It gives them relief, because they're like, oh, I didn't know that I could do this, or this service time doesn't count, and things like that. And helps them to understand what they can do for themselves and make educated decisions moving forward. So those things that I'm doing, I also am having classes that will be on my website, and you can enroll in to learn how the federal benefits and retirement work and how they work for you. So I'll have group courses, I will have individual courses for both the coaching and consulting. In addition, I do have a podcast as well. It's called The Royal Nugget. And each month I highlight a business owner or someone that will help you move to the next level, or someone that's doing something great out here in the community. So I do that once a month. I also come and share information on my podcast, which is also on YouTube. And one other thing that I'm stepping out on faith and doing is creating a nonprofit. So my nonprofit is to help underemployed and unemployed individuals in the Washington, D.C. area, to help them to get trades. So my goal is to work with those who are 35 and older. And they're probably like, why are you choosing 35 and older? That's because I'm in that age range. And also, I have seen a lot of people within and outside the federal government who were affected by things that have happened over the past 12 months. And they are now having to pivot and learn something else, or try to find a position that is going to be the same pay and give them the same things, satisfaction that they had when they were in the spaces they were in before. Here's an opportunity to learn something different, to take what they had before and maybe incorporate it into this different walk, into the different space, and be able to move on and do something that can help to empower them and others. In addition to being able to connect them with learning trades or vocations, it also will be able to give them mentoring, give them coaching opportunities, give them financial literacy. If they need parenting help, then that's what the nonprofit is going to be doing. Specifically, the first program that we're launching, which is called the Opportunity Door, will be focused on women in those spaces. So that's where we're starting for 2026. Yeah, I have a lot going on. And so the ladies know if I say that I'm doing too much, they're going to tell me sit myself down somewhere and take some rest. But um, these are things that I'm just like, okay, I have this in my mind, this in my mind, and I know I can't do it by myself. So if anybody out there listening and saying, hey, I think I have an idea, I think I have some resources for you, reach out to me. You can send an email to info@realtalkcoaching.net, and I will get that information and reach out to you and discuss something. Please email, don't drop it in the chat because I know stuff will get lost all in the chat and the comments from this episode, but just reach out to any of us at info@realtalkcoaching.net. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Coach Terri.
I don't know how I can come behind all the great works that you got going on, Coach Sharon. I should have went first. I didn't.
You got it. You got it. Listen, you're doing an area that I don't even want to touch. So you go right on it.
Think about this. So yes, so I'm excited. So in 2020, not only do I plan to continue to help specifically, STEM professionals in the federal workforce reimagine everything about their lives in that auspice of dreaming big, and dreaming past what we can see, and what we can even imagine just right in this moment. But on top of that, in addition to that, I'm very excited because I'm working on a math empowerment program. So this program is going to be focused on working with middle school children who have reservations about math, who have anxieties around math. Those young folks who look around when the math class starts, or even disconnect when when the concepts are being learned, just because maybe they don't have the confidence, or they feel as though they don't understand or aren't able to understand. What I want young people to really understand is that math is in everything that they do. The basic concepts of math are in everyday life, and it's a part of every career you can possibly imagine. From the figure skater who has to understand how big the rink is and how much space they have to move around, to the football, the NFL kicker who has to understand, the projection of the ball and the arc of the ball to make sure that it gets into the upright correctly and properly, right? Math is everywhere. And so I want us to remove the anxiety around it. I want us to really be able to embrace math and embrace and be confident that we can actually solve a problem. There's a level of confidence that comes when you can solve a math problem. It immediately makes you feel like you can solve any other problem that comes your way, whether it's a communal problem, a societal problem, or a personal problem. Excuse me. I want young people to understand that math is very universal. It's one of the few languages that you will learn that does not change regardless of what your culture is, what your background is, or even what language that you speak. 1 + 1 is always 2, always. It does not matter who you are or where you are in the world. And that, for me, that's alignment, right? That is something that is concrete, it is tangible, it does not move. I know it to be true, and I know it to be a fact. So that is what I'm really excited about. I am excited about changing the lives of young people. I'm excited about getting into middle schools, working with teachers, working with students, working with parents, and really just building that confidence to solve math problems, to remove the anxiety, to have everyone maybe not loving math the way that I love math, but definitely never being afraid of math again. I want to remove the stigma. I don't want us to say we hate math anymore. I want us to maybe say math is complex, but I know what to do. I know how to think. I know how to solve. I know how to break problems down. And that's what my program is really going to be about. It's going to be about empowering young people to know and to learn that they can solve problems. It will start with math, but it will extend way past that. And it's something that will always be with them. And it'll be a level of confidence that they will always carry throughout every aspect of their life in every engagement that they have.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. There will be more to come. There will be opportunities for me to engage with, again, academia, with teachers, with faculty members, with school boards, with students, with parents. You will be seeing me out there. And if you, as Coach Sharon mentioned, if you are a teacher, if you are a parent, if you are a student that is listening to this, and want to learn more about my math empowerment program, please, reach out to info@realtalkcoaching.net. And we will make the connection. If you have a young person who you think could benefit from having a conversation with me about math and empowerment, then please also reach out. I would love to talk to you and the young person in your life. And if you're an adult who has some anxiety around math, reach out to me as well. While my program is going to be developed specifically for young folks, the concepts and the goals and the ideas behind it are, again, like math, are universal. They're for everyone.
Nice. Ladies, I forgot to talk about my business.
Well, go ahead. There's still an opportunity.
There was the time.
So yes, I didn't mean not to mention this, but I do have Your Coach Terri LLC, and my website actually shows you, what packages that you can schedule. There's a discovery call, which is a free 30-minute call. To decide whether or not you even want coaching, and to decide whether or not you want coaching with me. One thing in coaching is, just like with anything, with being a therapist, with a doctor, with a plumber, you get to choose who your coach is. And so the discovery call actually helps you figure out if you want it to be me or someone else, if you're still interested in coaching. And it also kind of clarifies what you want to coach about. There are several different packages. There is also a free call for those Black women who have been pushed out of the workforce in 2025. That is a free 1 hour coaching call that you can schedule anytime if you go to my website, yourcoachterri.com. And yes, that um I I know that there are a lot of coaches out here, and you hear coaching a lot these days. I am an old school coach. I don't have any um I don't have any programs other than programs that will help you get to the next level. So check out my website. If there's something that you like, please feel free to schedule it. If you don't understand what some packages entail, please feel free to reach out to me through the contact information on the website, yourcoachterri.com. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Coach Terri, you want to summarize our session for today?
Yeah, so I guess so this year, because and it's funny because I never pick a word for the year, but I felt empowered, compelled to pick a word this year that I can focus on and work on. And I will tell you, since I picked belief, you know, things have been coming left and right. And so I remember 1,000 years ago when Oprah said that she chose clarity as one of her words for the year. And it was the hardest year that she had ever had. Because clarity opened up her eyes to a lot of what she was doing, a lot of what others were doing, and things were just coming at her. And we're not even in February yet. And since I picked that word belief, yeah, I've been tested a lot. And so, but I'm excited because this is my first time really picking a word. So now that we have our word and we have our vision and we have each other, what are we going to do, Sharon?
We're going to take that word and it's going to be our anchor. And we ask that you take your word and it be your anchor. So I have a challenge for all of you that are listening to this episode. Every time you have to make a decision, whether it's big or small, we're going to ask you to do it for 7 days. Okay. I was going to say for the whole year. Then I was like, maybe about 28, 30 days, because they say that's how long it takes to create a habit. But I'm going to make it even smaller. For the next 7 days, we're going to say, you're going to see your word and you're going to say, does this align with my word? So if I was to do this, no, let me take this back. When I do this, I will say, does this align with my faith and the definition that I have for it as my word of the year? Coach Terri do the same thing with belief. Coach Tara would do the same thing with her word. And so for the next 7 days, we're asking you to do that. And then also come back to us in the chat and tell us how that has worked for you. Was it difficult? Was it easy? Share with us how you feel about that word. And maybe even in the future, if you remember, to come back and say, hey, I've been doing this for a while and now I am like this. Maybe one day, a future episode, we might just drop in there and say, okay, now it's been 2 months. Tell us about your word. So be on the lookout. Coach Terri?
That's right. So we want to see your words in the comments. As Coach Sharon challenged us earlier, we want to see how your word walks, how it talks, and how it treats you. So please drop your words in the comments. We are excited to go on this journey with you because, as Coach Terri just mentioned, we have each other. So we are going to reimagine together.
Yeah, and if you want 2026 to be the year that you actually get to reimagine your dreams, rise forward or build your legacy, book a discovery call with one of us today. The links are in the show notes, and there's no obligation. It's just a free exploratory call.
Definitely, definitely. So we thank you again for another wonderful episode that you are here with us listening. Like we said, we're in the double digits now. This was episode 10, and we are moving forward. It's just moving up from here. And we want to, as always, to keep reimagining everything. So we'll see you in episode 11.
Thank you.